The Humana Honor Medicare Advantage Plan gives you $1,200 back each year in your Social Security check. Choose coverage that helps you keep more money in your pocket. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. The Part B Give Back benefit pays part or all of your Part B premium, and the amount may change based on the amount you pay for Part B. Limitations and restrictions may apply. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
KSL at night.
Welcome back to KSL at Night. You're here with me, Leah Murray, alongside my good friend, Rusty Cannon. In the last segment, Rusty, we took a look at the Salt Lake County Council. This segment, we're going to look at a statewide race, the race for Attorney General. On KSL at Night, we try to make sure that candidates have a chance to make their own case to voters why you should vote for the candidate. So with that in mind, let's welcome Derek Brown, Republican candidate for Attorney General. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here with both of you.
So Derek, give us like your background. What experience in your daily life makes you the most qualified candidate?
Oh, that is how much time do we have here?
You have a minute.
Okay, go. And you know, it's funny. I've been asked this over and over during the campaign trail this year. I mean, my background is I'm an attorney. I've practiced with two of the largest law firms in the country. I've clerked for a federal appeals court judge. I did a lot of appellate and Supreme Court type advocacy. I served in the House of Representatives here in Utah. I was also legal counsel for Senator Bennett. I worked with Senator Lee. I've been the vice president of a large technology company. And then the last 6 or 7 years have been working with some of the largest companies in Utah doing legal advice, government relations, and helping them out with just navigating the pitfalls of government.
So, Derek, everybody, I think all listeners and everybody across the state has heard a lot about the Attorney General office over the last many years, right? And I think everybody would, like to hear what plans would be or what plans you would have to continue the work of the Attorney General's office, maybe with a different track, right? I think everybody would appreciate a fresh perspective on the Attorney General's office. Share with everybody what your plans would be to kind of change the game a little bit.
Can I tell you, this is kind of the boring perspective, which you don't want to hear that on radio, but I'll tell you anyway. It is more than anything, the Attorney General's office is the largest law firm in the state. There are about 280 attorneys, almost 600 people in the office. They provide legal advice for every state agency. You help out from top to bottom, everything from the universities. Leah, you know about that. They're at Weber. They help out Division of Natural Resources, fishing licenses, Medicaid. The Attorney General's office needs to be effective, efficient, and it needs to be run in a way that provides really quick, solid legal counsel to the government. And so that's fundamentally what it does. Now, there's also another role we can talk about, which is interacting with other states and with the federal government. But ultimately, that's what the AG does. And the Attorney General is the one person in the state who is authorized effectively to represent the state in a lawsuit. It's the one person who can stand up and say, you're representing the state of Utah, and you can file a lawsuit on behalf of the state to remedy an ill, remedy something that's wrong. If there's a group of people who have been mistreated or who are vulnerable or need to be protected or helped, the AG, legislators can talk a lot about it and they can pass bills hoping to stop it in the future. The Attorney General can do something right now. And that's one of the cool things about it.
All right. So talk to us about, if it were the case that you became the Attorney General, do you have an idea like what your first lawsuit is? Like, just because you just said that, and I don't mean like
gonna sue.
No, I mean like, do you have a sense of, maybe a better question is priorities. Does that make sense?
I'll tell you one of the things, and as I've gone throughout the state, I have talked with, I can't tell you how many businesses and business leaders, and the same theme comes up over and over, and that is the degree to which the federal government is intruding on their business or their lands or whatever it is. I mean, I just met with an auto dealer, and auto dealers, the FTC is almost trying to put them out of business. I mean, when it comes to lands issues here in Utah, we've got the BLM that is shutting down land, closing off contracts with grazing and that sort of thing. They're trying to shut down private post-secondary education. They're shutting down the supplement industry to the extent they can. They're basically saying auto manufacturers need to convert to hybrid and electric by 2030. Now, while we can argue about the policy, the real problem is the people making those decisions are not members of Congress passing bills. They're the unelected bureaucrats that nobody knows about. And these agencies are exceeding their authority. And so from my standpoint, there are a lot of issues that I would like to pursue as Attorney General benefiting the state of Utah, because ultimately, I mean, when was the last time you heard somebody say, I'm really mad about this bill that Congress just passed? Like, it really makes me mad that they, you never hear that. Because Congress doesn't do anything. I mean, they really don't. I mean, think about
You're
it.
not wrong.
I would ask, for everyone listening, think to yourself, when was the last time someone got angry about a bill that Congress voted on or didn't vote on?
Yeah, it's been a
while. It just almost never happens. So 95% of the things people in Utah, businesses, corporations that are concerned, 95% of the things that they're concerned about, it's not Congress, even though we all spend a lot of time and energy and resources, campaigning and voting for members of Congress. That's not where the rubber meets the road in the year 2024. It's the administrative agencies. And there's only one person in Utah authorized to formally push back on behalf of the state, and that's the Attorney General.
So you bring up a great point that I want to drill down a little bit on. The Chevron doctrine was overturned by the Supreme Court. And to your point about agencies getting out of control, that was the problem for the last 40 years. But now with the overturning of that, it's our understanding that the pushback will come case by case, right? Where you essentially got to file suit and go after that. Are there specific instances where the Utah Attorney General can start this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Are there some things that are now teed up with the overturning of the Chevron doctrine that, if AG is Derek Brown, he can go after this stuff? I
mean, you can pick literally any industry, and agencies are making it more difficult to operate. I just met with a large home builder, and the current regs from HUD that they're imposing on home building right now, primarily in the name of climate change, will increase the value or the price of a starting home by $6,000 to $7,000. Now, that isn't something Congress decided to do. That's something an agency is doing.
Yeah.
So that's an area. I mean, another one is power plants. The EPA is trying desperately to shut down our power plants. And the problem is it's not Congress doing it. It's these mid-level bureaucrats in EPA doing it. And this is the moment where, with AI hitting the shelves and everything becoming a function of electricity, we need power more than ever. And this is the very moment when the EPA is coming in and trying to shut down power plants that we have here in the state of Utah. So those are just two examples. And I could go on because it seems like every industry has a three-letter, agency, three-letter acronym that's going after them.
The CFPB. If we get into a financial institute, the CFPB. But
Rusty just
I don't want to distract us.
We
just triggered Rusty.
My head is shaking over here.
Back to Leah then.
Yeah. Derek, I'm wondering if you could talk about, can I just pick one? Because I feel one of the issues that I hear a lot is the lands. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And I have YouTube TV, and the ad I see a lot is the lands ad, right? Like that we can't drive like we did when we were kids because roads are being closed. Can you talk about what your plan is for fighting for Utah land use? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, what did you kind of specifically have in mind?
Well, there are over 60 specific lawsuits the state of Utah has dealing with giving the people that live here the authority to control the land. Now, we can have a policy discussion about which land should be open or closed or that sort of thing. And I'm open to that. My concern is that the people making those decisions are tucked away in the middle of Washington, D.C. They're unaccountable. They're not elected. And so the only way to really go after that and figure that out is to file specific lawsuits. And that's what the state has done in this most recent land issue case involving the Supreme Court. And so what I would do is continue moving those forward. I think there are really solid legal arguments why we should do that. And when the state of Utah is 67% owned and controlled by the federal government, this is an issue that will continue to fester, and we need to figure this out.
All right.
So in the last 30 seconds or so, just remind listeners your website, where they can go to find information about you before we go.
I appreciate it. It's Derek for Utah. DEREK is how you spell it. DerekforUtah.com. And today ballots go out. So I would appreciate your support. And whatever you do, be sure to vote.
I love it. Derek Brown, Republican candidate for Attorney General. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right. When we get back, we're going to have a conversation. Rusty, I'm so looking forward to discussing this with you, broadening our focus to the Republican Party as a whole in Utah, discussing what the ideological makeup looks like, a little political science. We'll be right back.
It's finally time to say goodbye to the snow and hello to spring, and right now is the best time to spring into adventure in an RV from a Motorsportsland RV Center. Through this week, come check out Motorsportsland's season kickoff event and find the RV you've been dreaming of. Save thousands and even tens of thousands off MSRP and find your next adventure at a Motorsportsland RV Center today.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.